Hi, I'm Josh. This week on Make It, we're hanging out with viral campaign creator Ben von Wong. Ben's going to share the secret to his success and the secret to life, and we'll get a sneak peek inside his man purse right now on Make It. Hi, Ben. Welcome to the show. Great to have you here. How you been?
I've been good.
For those of us that aren't familiar with what you do, why don't you give us a little update and breakdown of who you are and what you do?
My name is Benjamin von Wong. I design viral campaigns and take pretty photos. I use photography to attract attention and hopefully use photography to educate and inspire others who are trying to make a difference in the world.
That's awesome. And how did you get into that? I mean, like, the photography that you do is really awesome. It's really, really cool. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that goes into this kind of imagery that you create. But
how did it all get started?
Yeah, take us down memory lane.
Well, it all started when a girl broke up with me. I was working in a mine in Winnemucca, Nevada, and I decided that I needed something to keep myself busy. And so I decided that the stars were pretty. I might as well go buy a camera and learn how to use it to take pictures of the stars. And that's how it all began.
And how did that photo turn out?
Oh, it turned out horrible. Actually, I wasn't able to take a photo because I bought my camera at Walmart, which was a point and shoot, had a maximum shutter speed of 3 seconds. So that's not enough to take pictures of the stars. I think 3 cameras later, I finally got a camera, a DSLR. It was a Pentax K100D.
Nice.
And,
did you get that photo of the stars?
I did. It was very mediocre.
Okay, so you take a mediocre photo that after 3 generations of cameras, but what kept you engaged? Why'd you stick with it?
Right, so photography is cool because it offers instant gratification, at least in the digital age. So I was able to take a photo, see the results, feel some form of satisfaction, and that really just kept me going. I was like, oh, I can just keep taking photos and they'll keep getting better. And then over time, the camera became a companion, something that I could take with me everywhere. It gave me something to do, gave me an excuse to meet people, gave me an excuse to go places and capture something different.
Sometimes an excuse to not talk to people.
Or not talk, exactly. So it prevented me from being too awkward in different social events. And that just kind of got me going on the photography train. And then as I developed further, started shooting events, started doing pictures of just about everything, I came to the realization that if I was just taking pictures of events and capturing things as they were, it was really hard to stand out because everyone was taking the same thing. And so that's where I started slowly designing my own personal projects, getting a little bit more creative. And that's when I started trying to experiment with different techniques, learning how to use Photoshop to expand imagination without spending too much money. And then slowly developing skills to collaborate with others, learning the different technologies like lighting. And then I just quit my job and started traveling, and then the world possibilities opened up even wider.
Maybe you can walk us through one of these collaborations that you've done. A lot of the stuff that you do, it takes a whole team of individuals that come together, and there's something amazing about taking all these different creatives and putting them into one room and seeing put some pressure on it, and then what comes out of it.
Yeah, when I first started out, it was really about finding a single focal point. So whether it was a really cool location or a really great talent or really cool costume, and that would be the focal point to design all the other experiences about it. As time has gone by, where I am now, I spend a lot more time on the ideation and the conceptual phase because I want my images to tell a specific story, so I have to find the right stories.
I know that we have talked about this mermaid shot that you did recently. It'd be really interesting to hear how that process went about, because there was a lot of people that you had involved in there. There was a lot of elements. There was a lot of work. There was a lot of creativity, and just it seems like a perfect storm of awesomeness.
I think it's one of the greatest successes of my most recent phase in my career, I suppose, this desire to combine social impact with fantastical artwork. I think what really made it work was the fact that it could be summarized in a single headline. You have a mermaid on 10,000 plastic bottles. It inherently drives a little bit of intrigue to know, why did it happen? How was it put together? So the video has, I think, currently 28 million views on social media, which is pretty awesome. It involved over 50 volunteers. We had to clean and wash 10,000 plastic bottles, place them, design them, suspend a camera from the ceiling. But it really all began when my mom, she was looking for a designer for my sister's wedding dress, ended up finding out that this designer also made silicone mermaid tails, and sent me her profile. I checked it out. I'm like, oh, hey, these mermaid tails are really, really awesome. What can I do with this? And with the idea of conservation behind it, I thought that if I could collect a large number of plastic bottles, this could make for a very interesting concept. I just didn't know where I would find a large number of plastic bottles. My friend Didier, who was looking to get into producing, offered to call up a bunch of places. And so he called up a few waste management centers, and Tamara said, sure, where would you like these bottles delivered? And I hadn't reached that far in the thought process yet.
Just some bottles. I mean,
yeah,
who cares?
yeah. So I started hunting for a space, a warehouse space, reached out to different people. This guy whose wedding I shot 7 years ago, I knew had a flooring company, so I thought he might have some industry contacts. And he said, sure, no problem. So ended up with a space.
I've had to learn this over and over again repeatedly in my own life, that asking for favors, you get a lot of things that if you ask that you would think you might not be able to get.
Yeah, absolutely. What I've learned over like all my travels and all these different projects is that everybody knows somebody who knows somebody else, right? There's this like 3-4 degrees of connection that you can basically pull any favors from. And if at the end of the day you're doing something that you believe in, if it's something that's unique, if it's something that really appeals to people on an emotional level, then you can convince them of this possibility of collaboration. People like to be part of something greater.
You can be like that catalyst, that center post, the lightning rod of idea, the font of creativity. People are willing to, if you can just say, hey, can you do this? They're really happy to do it.
The more specific you are, the better it is, right? So I did a bunch of live streams, like Instagram Live, Facebook Live, just saying like, hey guys, I'm just gonna hang out here and answer questions, but by the way, I need some help if you guys want to show up and help me clean bottles. And then I had to deal with the next problem. I needed to figure out how I was going to suspend the camera from the ceiling. So I hit up one of my friends who was a rock climber and a sound rigger. And so he rigged up like pulleys and 2x4s and a plate so that we could screw my camera on the top of this system that we would just, like a T-bar that we would just like rig up and down. And then from there, we had to figure out how to sort all the bottles, like what type of patterns to create. So I reached out to one of my friends who's a henna artist, and a painter, and I asked her for help. I just said, hey, I need patterns. Can you come play with these pile of 10,000 bottles and see if we can build something pretty out of it? You know, people like to say, oh, Ben, your work is so creative and everything. I'm like, I really just solve lots of problems, lots of small problems until like.
Well, I mean, to be clear and to be fair, you're also that person that's at the center of it, that had the idea, that is like kind of driving towards that one idea.
I'm solving a marketing and a communication problem with photography, which is really a technical craft, because if you understand lighting, you understand composition, you understand your 3 camera settings.
We're about to get really philosophical here. Like, so what is creativity then?
My work is very obvious. I take a lot of familiar elements and I mash them together and I create a technical solution. I don't necessarily consider myself particularly creative. I just think that I have a tendency to really be able to solve problems and market them.
And I think what's interesting about that is there's a certain level of self-awareness that I know that you have and one would need to have to be able to say, like, this is a thing that I'm good at, this is a thing I'm not good at.
I'm happy to work with anyone better than me at any component.
Cool.
Right.
It's always a good way to be. I mean, like the reality is there's always somebody better than you at something.
Yeah. And I'm very collaborative. So if I'm working with a makeup artist, I don't tell her how to do the makeup. I'll tell her what I like and don't like after it's done, and I'll give her a lot of references in terms of like what I think would look good. But ultimately, I let them do their job because that's what they do. And that goes for like every stage of the way, from design to conceptualization. Like right now, I'm working on a project and we'll be creating monsters out of clothing. And I've never created monsters out of clothing, but I found a costume designer who initially wanted to create things out of foam and styrofoam, but that would be not environmentally friendly. So we're creating out of cardboard.
Good.
So we're creating monsters out of like Manfrotto flex arms with cardboard and clothing, something that like never done before.
There's this struggle that I think a lot of people go through. I know I myself go through it, and it's like personified by these 2 different quotes. Like one of them is, better is the enemy of done, and the other one is, good is the enemy of great. How do you go through that process of preventing yourself from iterating to death, while at the same time ensuring that you don't settle for mediocrity?
You know, oftentimes we're not the best judge of what's going to be good or great. What we might consider mediocre to our own standards might be really amazing to the rest of the world. And this is kind of one of the things about being an artist or designing a campaign. You can do your best to a certain extent, and then the rest is letting the world make the decision and the judgment, right? But that is not to say, so I have some of my favorite photos. I can give you an example here. For example, I love this photo shoot that I did. It was on the cliffs of Sutro Baths. I have this beautiful costume from Kash. Like the model is the girl who designed her own costume. But the photo shoot was never particularly successful. The photograph is great, but the photograph never went very far.
I think that there were some other things that you had brought along, some ideas that we could probably touch on as well. Like you had some little tips on how to become better at collaborating.
It really boils down to this like really simple thing. Like if you can always offer someone more than you're taking, the chances that people are going to say yes to you will be exponentially higher. And this works on like corporate to non-corporate everything. Like it's not about what you take, it's about what you can give. Being kind and generous, being thoughtful, I think will get you way farther than just trying to think about your own
So number one,
desires.
don't be selfish.
Yeah.
What other ideas? Any other tips that you have?
One of the things I think that creatives never think about is how their art or their content is going to be consumed. And it's something that's so important because you can't just create something and hope that the work will speak for itself. You have to think about how it's going to be distributed. How are people going to react to it? Why would they like something? Why would they share it? Why would they tell their friends? What about what you're doing is particularly unique or different?
That's awesome. There was one other thing that I wanted to see if you could help talk about a little bit as well, because a lot of people want to create video. And there's this desire to create video and this desire to add video into your photography or add video into your marketing pieces.
Yeah.
But what you were talking about is like the difference between a video that you produce for like maybe something that would go on Vimeo or YouTube versus something that would go on Facebook.
Inherently, the video has to have a purpose and a goal. And with that purpose and goal comes the value of the medium. So on Facebook, people have shorter attention spans. They're not looking for anything that's too complex. They want maybe less interviews, more big text. Maybe it's going to be a square format because most people are watching on mobile. Maybe most people are watching silently. So it's like 80% of people watch things silently. If you don't have subtitles, you have no text, your whole thing's going to collapse. So realizing that you're creating content for a medium that's going to be distributed through a platform and thinking about how that's going to be consumed is extremely important.
Right. Well, one thing also that I really like about you, Ben, is that you love gadgets and you love toys.
I do.
And you always have fun gadgets and fun toys. And I think you brought some
I do.
to play with. And maybe you could show us a few of your latest fun stuff.
So the first thing that I have that I think is really interesting is this, what I have on me right now. It's this watch, but it's not the watch that's interesting. It's actually a Leatherman tread. So this has a bunch of different tools, different screwdrivers. It's got like a blade here. You can cut yourself out of a car that's sinking. You can cut the seatbelt. This pick over here can be used to pick things, but like you can change a SIM card.
Nice.
And your phone with it. It's got a bottle opener, glass breaker in case you get stuck in a burning building.
Nice.
I don't
So
know. I'm
this is
sure the
from-
one day I need it, I'm not going to have my watch on me.
Yeah,
but
of course.
That's
the way it works.
Yeah, this is called a Leatherman tread. I attach it to my Apple Watch just so that I had all my gadgets in one place.
awesome.
Like I use it at least once a week. So that's my first toy.
Nice.
I have a bunch of different things. So I like to wear a fanny pack, by the way. This is like the perfect size for a mirrorless camera. So this is really, really fun. It's a single hand release. I have here this like really fun Kickstarter thing that I found. I don't know if it's in production, but it's these prisms. So you can use these for like to create fractals.
So you shoot through them, or you put lights through them, or
You just put your camera lens really close to it.
But I think it'd be
and
fun if you
can,
put
move it around.
like a really high-powered flashlight on one side of them, and then you can
Yeah,
project
you could
really
create
cool
like
things.
really cool backgrounds. Yeah, so there's like a ton of things that can be done with this. So that's really cool. I have
Whoa.
So I have here my favorite tripod of all times.
Awesome.
It's by Manfrotto. It's this tiny little thing. But what's so cool about it is how like small it is, right? So you can carry it in your wallet, you can bring it around, and now you have a tabletop tripod. I like to shoot from low with a wide angle very often, and this just like prevents you from trying to use like your cell phone and your wallet to kind of prop it at the exact same height. This thing.
So you can just, if you want to
Makes
get
a
it
lot
up,
of
you just
sense.
put the two parts in the back like that, and then now you've got a nice little high angle kind of shot.
you can lift it however you need to.
Right.
And then if we went to like higher powered gadgets, this is like my new favorite toy, a military spec'd out tablet by Dell. It's a rugged tablet. It comes with a little stylus, which is really fun. What's cool about this, in terms of the screen itself, it's that it works with gloves on. It's not
Like capacitive.
yeah, it's not capacitive touch, so it's pretty fun. So
Whoa.
I'm thinking of using this as a I can tether this, I can carry it around.
Nice.
It's heavy, but it's not impossibly heavy.
Yeah.
And
Well, you're also kind of
throw it.
beastly, so that's maybe for you. You're always working out.
right, you can like throw this.
Oh my God.
Kind of fun. And so I like to destroy things. So I think those are like a few gadgets that I had.
That's awesome. Well, thanks a lot for stopping by, Ben. Really appreciate you sharing all of your knowledge. You're obviously a great photographer, but the knowledge that you shared about collaboration is awesome, and your confidence in your immerse is spectacular. So thank you very
Everyone
much.
needs a man purse.
Of course,
Firm believer.
everybody needs immerse. Apparently, thank you, and thank you all for watching this week's episode of Make It. Come back next week, and we're going to have even more fun photography talks and tips and tricks and people to chat with. So see you next week.
Like, comment, subscribe.